There we go.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Are there any apologies for absence?
Councillor Mitchison and Councillor Pacey has indicated that he is on day shifts. He's just hoping to join the meeting about 6:45.
Right, okay, thanks for that, Adam. Agenda item 2, Town Mayor's announcements. I would just like to thank the residents and staff of Cramlington for what they've been doing right. And please keep doing it, i.e. social distancing, washing hands. We know what the rule is, but thank you, and please carry on. Agenda item 3, minutes of the last meeting. That was the 28th of May 2020. Can I have a proposer and seconder, please?
Move as a true record, Chair.
True record,
Seconded.
thank you, Barry. Christine, are you seconding? Thank you. Agenda item 4, are there any disclosures of interest? Wayne?
Chair, if I could, on part 2 of the meeting tonight, there is an application in for an organisation of which I have a link, so I will not be participating in that.
Thank you. Agenda item 5, budget monitoring report and budget parameters for 2021-22. To receive the budget monitoring report to the 31st of August 2020 and to consider initial guidelines for the preparation of the budget for 2021-22, which is attached. Can I hand you over to John Harvey, please?
Yeah, certainly. I'm not going to go through line by line, but can I just make the 3 broad points? First of all, it's a snapshot of your current year's expenditure. Your accounts are up to date. And the position for this year, I think, is actually looking reasonably good. In terms of the effects of the COVID, it's, if anything, had a positive effect because it's delayed some of our works or it's postponed some items. And so I think by the end of the year, we'll have an underspending, maybe 30,000 plus. I wouldn't like to be any more precise than that at this point in time, but I'm confident that for this year, all is well. That means at the end of the year, we brought forward 140,000 pounds. We'll have an underspending. Even if we allow for things which are in the pipeline, you should still have a reasonable level of balances at the end of the year. The most important thing at this time of the year for me, therefore, is to seek your guidance. Well, me and Bob, to seek your guidance as to how we should proceed in building up next year's budget. And you will see at the end of the report, we're suggesting that things for next year, as they stand at the moment, are going to be tight. We're assuming that there'll be minimal increase in the precept. So really, if you want to proceed with new schemes, have some money to spend, we're actually recommending a fairly fundamental review of what we do at the minute. That's not to say to stop what we do, but simply look at what we do. Are we doing it in the best possible way? Are there other things we'd rather do instead? So I would just invite any questions. And obviously, you're free to have a discussion.
Chair?
Sorry, Wayne, yes.
Yeah, sorry. Right, so thanks for that, John. I like reports like this, nice and brief and pithy to the point. So that's good. It is detailed. There is a detailed narrative in here. And what you say is, by no means is this council going to run out of money. In fact, we've actually got a really good record of bringing in money from external partners and actually using the money which we have really effectively. Particularly, I'm focused on the commitment that we all have across the whole of the council in Cramlington to commit to improving our play areas for young people. So that's absolutely written into there as well. And also the commitments that we've shown, which are part of our community involvement. So later on in the agenda in part 2, there are further applications to our community chest. That's money for local community organisations to continue doing all of the really good things that they do. And also as well, We've also made commitments on resources, such as our focus on building a stronger community in Cramlington by bringing staff in, particularly to work around young people and some of our more marginalised communities. So I think all of those things are really good. I think it is right and proper for any council to constantly review what it does and actually try to do what it does better. So I'm very happy with the contents of the report. It specifically talks about how we can do our bit within Cramlington around supporting COVID-19 recovery. And that is absolutely written through everything we do, because it is a single leveler within our town, within the county, within the country and across the world, that COVID is having an impact on everyone. So I'm really very pleased that written through our budget planning and our thinking and our processes is how we support our communities through COVID, working with young people, older people, marginalised communities, those people who need that support. So I think it is absolutely right and proper that as a council, we just go, you know, what have we done really well, and continue doing that, and to see what we can do even better. So the thing I will pick out on here is for particularly capital projects is looking to get further external partners to come in to work in partnership with us, be that the county council, be it through organisations, National Lottery, a range of organisations. But there are people out there who want to work in partnership, and that is very much how the future will look for us as a council. We don't work in isolation, we never have, and now the focus on that partnership building and bringing communities, partners, businesses, individuals together is written through this report. So I welcome it, and you know, any other comments from other members think be welcome. But overall, this is a strategy which I can completely support, because it says we've done a lot really well and we can do more better, which should really be the motto for any council, really.
Absolutely, Wayne. Thank you for your comment. Anybody else? Paul. Paul.
So it just, I mean, it's very impressive, the budget, of course. It's quite a considerable, about 37K of underspent because of COVID. This is one clarification. There is an expenditure item called service team, and we have budgeted £55,800, but we have only spent 14,304. So what does the service team expenditure mean?
It's the James and John, our actual doers, and the costs associated with them. It's the vehicle, the equipment. And the reason it appears to be underspent is it's our friends at the county actually spend our payroll, but they're not that good at actually invoicing us for those costs. So there's 2 months worth of payroll costs to come in right across our budget.
Right.
It's something I've referred to in the body, that it makes life difficult when you know, we don't get invoices. And to be fair, the county do give us the biggest invoices, and and Adam does pay them immediately, but until we get them, we can't pay them.
All right. Okay. So now the reason I asked was because we have been providing all the services, because I don't want people to kind of misinterpret that we haven't provided the services because of the COVID lockdown. But that figure of 14,304 is just a nominal figure, and it will rise up.
Exactly.
Thanks, John.
So, I mean, I would make the point that Bob might make, that as a council, COVID didn't shut us down. You continue to provide the services and what we do, the parks, were reopened as soon as we could. Everything we could do, we have done.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, then thank you, John, for your report. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Agenda item 6, Community and Youth Network Update. And I'll hand you over to Maggie.
Yeah, again, I'm going to keep it quite brief. I've kind of done a summary of the report. Just to say that everything's going really well on the community front. All the projects undertaken are being fed through the Community and Youth Forum. And that just ensures that partners are kind of involved in the development plans, receiving regular updates. information on the development of the hubs and the forming of the community partnerships. I think for me, the biggest challenge has been the community directory. We've only had 15 groups that have signed up to share their information on the town council. I think this could be possibly due to the current climate, because you know there's groups that are not running or they're not quite sure how they're going to run. But the good thing is the majority of that information is being shared over the social media platforms. There's now over 1,000 people who's following the community engagement page, and again the youth engagement page is growing with nearly 1,000 members. There's currently 8 projects that are in progress. So this includes the community allotment project. There's a scheme looking at the redevelopment of Lanarcost Nature Reserve. So this has kind of led to a formation of a community wild space network. There's the development of Eastfield Community Hub, which is 5 organisations that have come together to work in partnership, which is fantastic. There's been some consultation with Mayfield residents who are looking to form a residents association, and this has been from the community spirit that they've seen during the lockdown, and kind of going on from that as well, with the street parties and kind of people helping out doing each other's gardens and things like that. They just want to keep that momentum going. There's been the Love Cramlington Awards, which I know Jane's going to tell you a bit more about. We've got a Christmas light community fundraising group that's been set up. We've got the first meeting of that coming shortly, and we've got a Christmas community market and showcase events for community groups to take part in. So there's lots of things going on in the community. Dan, the youth network has now left. He's relocated to a new area, but he's left an amazing legacy for Cramlington. To date, over 200 children and young people have attended the summer schemes that he coordinated along with Cramlington Voluntary Youth Project, and these have gone out across 4 areas in Cramlington. The work of Northumberland Youth Service, they've engaged with 183 individual young people and carried out detached youth work within McDonald's, Manor Walks, Seven Oaks Park, Beacon, Brockwell, Alexander Skate Park. And what he's done is he's set up ways of communication, things like antisocial behaviour, so they can identify the hotspots. And all this information is kind of shared through the youth and community forums. So it means we can identify ways together of tackling these issues as they arise. He's developed a cost analysis that has shown the community groups and organisations in Cramlington how much they've benefited. And to date, it's about £97,000 worth of funding. That's not just in money, that's kind of in kind, it's in resources, it's in staffing. That's kind of been available for community groups and organisations since the start of the Community and Youth Network. We've got the interviews tomorrow for the new youth development worker in place, and we've got 3 people we're interviewing, and they're really strong candidates. So it's just over to you if you've got any questions about anything that's been going on.
Mark.
Thank you, Chair. It's not so much questions really. I went through the the information in the report, you know, obviously prior to tonight. And firstly, I just want to thank you for bringing to us or helping to bring out just how much this council is actually focused on providing for the residents and young people in our town, and the effort that goes into doing that. But a couple of things just to pull from the masses of amount of information that you've put in there. So you might remember that last year questions were asked as to what was available for young people in Cramlington, and after that a number of us attended an event in Manor Walks, and we found that there were in excess of sort of 60 plus youth groups and organisations around the town. Was it 68 or something like that, Maggie? I think if I remember
right. It was 45 youth organisations,
right.
I think.
I was exaggerating then. I thought there was more. But
no, I think you got the numbers because that was including some of the community groups that also worked with children, young people and adults. That was about 60.
Okay. So but I still regularly see and hear questions asked about people want to know if certain groups are available for their children, where they can get a room or venue, what they can do to get something up and running.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems a resource database, as has been mentioned, is something like we've been needing for some time and can be a significant benefit to bring all this together and have that central town council directory. At least people will know where to go rather than just going on social media. They'll
Yeah.
know, you know, and asking this, do you know anything about that? They know exactly where to go, and they'll go to the town council. And we really need to be that focal point as a go-to place. So that is going to be a massive benefit. The other thing I wanted to mention was the fact that I know he's gone now, but the youth network coordinator, as you know, came out in there. He was able to secure thousands of pounds worth of equipment to distribute free to like the younger residents and help share the information with community groups across the town, so that they could do that as well. You don't get this stuff by sitting and waiting for someone to come and drop it on your lap. It takes a massive amount of work for that to happen. You know, it is hard work, so I think it's worthy of some thanks. And I just want to say, well done. I know
Thank
he's not
you.
here now.
Very
but
well
both
done,
of
Maggie.
you, well
Thank
done
you.
for the
And-
amount of work and effort that goes into all of this stuff in there.
That's appreciated. Thank you.
Helen, and then Christine.
I also want to say congratulations for what you did during the summer. It was truly amazing what you did for the kids in Cramlington. And I was a bit worried, I don't know if you're aware, but for the last 20 years I've run Cramlington Kids Club. I know how difficult it is doing the summer programme and coming up with different ideas and different initiatives and whatever. Thank God you were only on for 2 hours and you didn't give us much competition, because what you did for 2 hours was amazing. Because I don't know if you, the old adage, if you can't beat them, join. We actually turned up to one of the events and we did archery, dancing, sports. I mean, that was in 2 hours covering all of those different things. It was great because it gives the kids something to get up for, something to do. It's free and it keeps them off the streets. It was absolutely brilliant. So long may it continue, but don't do a day shift. It's my job.
If we do, we'll do it together.
You are truly brilliant. Thank you so much. We enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Helen.
Christine.
Yeah, Maggie, I just really want to say thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Community spirit back to Cramlington. And I'm excited about the Eastfield Hub.
Me too.
The potential to enrich the lives of our residents here in Eastfield and our two estates in Parkside will be absolutely fantastic. And I'm really excited about it. And if you need any help, just come to me and
oh, I will. I'll be knocking.
Thank
you.
Wants to add,
yeah,
that's all right.
As you probably know, Maggie, we work with the community all the time virtually here, whether it's tree planting, bulbs, litter picks, that sort of thing. And we're looking forward very much to be working with, in particular, the Eastfield Community Hub in the future.
Yes.
Fantastic job, Maggie. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's definitely been a team effort. Dan's going to be a miss, but I'm sure the new Youth Work Network will, you know, hit the ground running.
Lovely, Maggie. Is your head big enough?
No,
no. Well done. Well done, sweetheart. Well
Thank
done.
you.
Well done. Anything else?
Yeah. Could I just come in?
Yes,
Can we send Dan, who's just left us, a link to use this as his testimonial for any of the job he's got? Because he was only here a short time, but he did a huge amount of work with Maggie, and I think we should recognise that. So if he's watching this, thank you, Dan.
Great idea. Great idea. Okay, agenda item 6, Love Cramlington Awards, and I believe I need to hand over to Jane. Jane, talk to me.
So
right.
the Love Cramlington Awards, they aim to recognise the community spirit and the local heroes, and we have many local heroes in the town. This year there's definitely an extra significance because of COVID, and the awards will be a virtual offering this year because we're not able to hold a physical gathering. The awards were promoted on the website and our social media channels, and we received 72 nominations, which I think is an excellent number of nominations. There are 11 categories and one overall champion, and the categories cover a range of areas such as sport, youth, business, charity, environment. We had a panel which included Mayor Lorraine and Councillor David Murray, and they drew up a short list, and there was a short list of 3 in each category. And then we had a second panel that met, and that included Nikki Verro, who's from Ambulance Community Partners, and they very kindly sponsored the event. And that also included Victoria Malloy from Manor Walks. So the winners have been decided. So next, the councillors will be invited to participate in videos which will announce the winner of each category. And so that's going to take a little while to gather the material and the photographs, photographs, edit it and produce it. And then they'll be announced later in the year. So it's recommended that the council note the arrangements, express thanks to Ambulance Community Partners for the sponsorship, and approve the cost of trophies, which will be around £400.
So can we take on Jane's recommendations, Wayne? Yes.
Thanks, Chair. I would hope this is going to be an annual event, because it's one of the things which, you know, and I'm probably sit in this category because I am not from Cramlington. I'm from Gateshead originally, and I moved into Cramlington in 1993, like many people did over many years. And actually, this is where I call home, because it is a fantastic town, brilliant people, and it's such a nice place to live. You're, you know, minutes away from the coast. You're surrounded by greenery, some really good people, community initiatives, people who want to help. It's a fantastic place to live, and you know, we all know that. We all know what we love about Cramlington, but I think it's one of the things which is both a plus and a negative for Cramlington, that many of the people who come here have come from outside rather of the town, and everything that we can do to gel those communities together into a cohesive Cramlington, I think is a really, really good sign, because we've got really good pockets of communities throughout our town, and it's bringing all those things which bind us all together, whether you live in Northburn, Eastfield, Hertford, Nelson, doesn't matter where you live. You know, the thing that binds you together is that you love the town, you love Cramlington. So I think this is fantastic, and I really hope that this becomes an annual event and that it goes from strength to strength. And for me, I think this is a fantastic initiative. So well done for those who put it together.
Paul.
So there are 12 awards. Is that correct, Jane? 12 awards.
Yeah.
There are 72 applications or recommendations. Nominations, that's correct.
Sorry, Jane, it's 11 awards, isn't it?
And the overall champion.
And the overall, okay, right, okay.
So the overall champion award will be given 300, and all others are given some trophies. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
I think probably we should, you know, to me, it looks like 12 out of 72, there is a 1 in 6 chance of winning these awards. It looks like it is very popular. So we should think about putting some funds in future years, so that we also award, you know, give cash to those other 11 winners. In addition to a trophy or something like that. So I'm not really sure, because I didn't think it would be so popular, because we are selecting each winner 1 out of 6. So that's really, you know, it's a good thing. So we should award them a little bit richer in a better way.
We've already decided next year we hope to expand the sponsorship. It was decided that because we were given £300 as sponsorship, we could either give each category winner £25, or there could be one award of £300. And it was felt that the amount of £300 would be more useful. You know, it could actually do some good. And if the winner is an individual, they will be asked to nominate a group or a cause of their choice. But it's already planned that next year we hope to increase the sponsorship, maybe increase the local businesses. And
yeah, I understand that, Jane. Why one winner gets 300, I completely understand that, but I'm just expressing some kind of a plan for, you know, expanding it for the future.
Oh, agreed. Yeah.
Thank you, Paul. Jane actually mentions that under finance in her report, but when you think it was Adam and I did it last year, it was just 2 of us, and already it's grown out of all proportion, which is fantastic. So well done, Dave.
Right, cheers. Actually, being a part of the selection group was absolutely fantastic and extremely humbling when you think that we had people nominated from being the age of 7 who gave out daffodils and wrote personal notes on for people, to a lady in her 80s litter picking, which was done not just during COVID, but all year round and has done for years. So it's, the community and the spirit is out there, but it's been hidden for years. And I think it's because of this COVID incident, it's now come to flourish. And I think it's wonderful for the town.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah.
I think people as well have more time somehow, don't they? They're not rushing about going to work, so they've got more time to take notice of what's going on around them.
It's a total
So,
life change.
Something to be thankful for COVID. Anybody else want to add anything? Adam, we'll need to do a letter to ambulance. I'll obviously sign it, and we'll do it after the awards have gone over. I'll diarise it as well. Anything else on Love Cramlington? I mean, I think we all agree Cramlington's a great place to live. Oh, I don't know why, but right, sorry. Right, agenda item 7, playground review. Bob.
Hello, Lorraine. Yeah, the last meeting, Council agreed that we would apply for a Public Works Loan Board loan of for £100,000 to fund the refurbishment of the various playgrounds contained within the playground review. We made that application, and it appears that for a town the size of Cramlington, £100,000 is classed as a de minimis loan, because it has to be £5, at least £5 per head of population. So we've rethought this, and in view of that, we've decided to go for a loan of £150,000 and to include Alex Park in the playground review for the complete refurbishment of Alex Park Playground. Now, we had hoped previously that Alex Park would be funded through 106 funding, but the situation with 106 is fairly dismal at the moment, and we have tried to chevy the County Council along to let us know what's happening to all of the 106 funds, which presumably they're gaining from all of the development that is going on, certainly in the southeast of the county. But the amount available for play is a mere £76. So that we don't understand that situation. Nevertheless, what the proposal is that rather than wait for 106 or the 106 situation to be resolved, we take the bull by the horns and we fund the refurbishment of Alex Park ourselves by applying for a loan of 150,000, and that we also withdraw 25,000 from balances, and we via £25,000 from this year's budget, which will be unused in respect of playground improvements. And that will give us a total amount of money of 200,000, which will allow us to do all of the playground review works that we planned, and also allow us £100,000 to refurbish Alex Park this year. So this is a reversal of the decision made at the previous council meeting for the reasons I've just explained, and I'm now asking you to approve an application for an increased loan of 150,000 and to progress the redevelopment of Alex Park this year, and also to withdraw £25,000 from balances and to via £25,000 from this year's budget.
Can we agree to those recommendations? Christine? And then Paul.
Yeah, I just want to agree, Chair. I think it's a really fantastic opportunity for the town and Alex Park really needed an upgrade, and I'm happy to approve it.
Thank you. Paul?
Yes, I really appreciate this sudden turn of events because it is really good, and I think I would request all members to support it because we are not drawing so much from the balances at all, and also it looks like we have underspent for this financial year, so which may cover whatever that is being drawn from the balances. So we are in a safe position, and then it's good to see Alexandra Park completely refurbished. Thank you.
Wayne?
Yeah, and again, just echoing that, absolutely agree with it. And it's not just Alexandra Park, it's other parks in Cramlington who are going to be benefiting here. I'm particularly, but being parochial here, sorry guys, but I'm really pleased that Horton Park, Northburn, is going to be getting some support as well, because it was last done, I think, back in 2013, 2014. So it is aging a little. So I'm really happy about that. But I think what this actually says, going back to that whole issue of play and commitment, you know, to all ages in Cramlington, particularly for young people, is that, you know, we do listen to our residents. And one of the big things which came out of COVID was the fact that a lot of parents, a lot of grandparents, particularly with young children, we're taking them around the different offers that we have in Cramlington. And we do have a lot of very different play offers, depending whether you're over in East Hertford or whether you're, you know, Northburn, or whether you're in Eastfield, or whatever part of Cramlington you're in. There is something a little bit different everywhere. And I think one of the things which I would like to see, again, coming out of this report is, and this is possibly for Maggie because she's on the call, is to look at creating that play directory so people know the different kinds of offers that are available in our town for parents, carers, grandparents, to take their kids around to see the different play offer available for them in the town, which is going to be massively improved as a result of this. So I do think we need that directory. I think it would be a good idea.
Right, thank you. Right, moving on to agenda item 8.
Yeah, I think Councillor Murray had his hand up.
Yeah.
Oh, I do beg your pardon, Dave.
Right from the beginning, but it doesn't matter. Right.
Right from the beginning. Maybe my screen's not right. I do beg your pardon.
Yeah. I'm just going to agree with Paul. I'm going to say it's a wonderful thing for Alexandra Park because it's been quite a few years since anything's been done there, and you can tell by the types of things that are there that needed refurbishment or absolute replacement, and it's only good for the town. You know, it's one of the major parks in Cramlington, and the better the playgrounds are, and the more facilities that are there for young children and even up to teenagers, you know, is ideal. So I welcome it with open hands.
Definitely. Right, agenda item 8, Service Managers Report. To receive the Service Managers Report on current operational issues and projects, the report is attached. This report is normally taken by the DSM committee, but is referred to full council as a result of current restrictions on meetings. So can I hand over, please, to Mark?
Thank you, Chair. Just want to briefly mention, since we took control of the council in 2017, we've set extremely high standards for our town because we want it to be the best that it can be, and we feel the residents deserve it to be the best it can be. Most of us know how we'd like the town and our own areas to look, and we've identified where we believe improvements can be made from the county council in our partnership service. We want things to get better, and so do our residents. And tonight, the services manager will be providing some further detail around this in his report. So if I can pass you over to Darryl to go through that.
Just before you jump in there, Darryl, John Percy, just let you know I'm joining the meeting there. I'm late in, and thank you very much.
Yes, John, sorry, I didn't acknowledge you. Good evening. Right, Darryl.
Good evening. How is everyone? We're all good. Unfortunately, my report isn't as positive as everybody else's, but that's just the nature of the beast. So yeah, just a bit of background before I kind of go into the report. as all of you will know, my role is kind of split into two. So not only do I manage the frontline services that fall under CTC control, I also am in a scrutiny role where I monitor the partnership, whereby we basically subcontract into an enhanced deal with Northumberland County Council. So in terms of grounds maintenance on a CTC point of view, as in grounds maintenance and street cleaning that's undertaken by our staff, that is completely fine, and there's no issues to report regarding that. These issues totally relate to the partnership we have with Northumberland County Council. So yeah, as you can see, there's many issues outlined in my report. As you can see, I put a line at the bottom saying these issues will be discussed in greater detail in part 2. So what I ask from councillors today is, if you do have any specific questions in relation to performance, you're more than welcome to ask during this agenda item, or you can hold off until part 2. Is that all right, Mayor?
Yes, of course.
Right, no problem. I'll crack on then. So the partnership team are currently on the 14th grass cutting cycle. It's looking very unlikely that they're going to achieve the target cuts. My anticipation with the what kind of weather we're going to get coming in, we're probably going to be looking at 16 to 17. With regards to service delivery for grass cutting, we are massively underachieving, and we have raised this with partnership managers, which responses will be fed to you in part 2 from partnership managers. With regards to other elements of underperformance, weed control is exactly the same. We're inundated with complaints from councillors and members of the public, and one of my beliefs is that the reason for the poor delivery in weed control is due to the lack of a road sweeper, which hasn't been operational for some quite time. But again, we'll go into that further detail. Litter collection is all right. It's getting collected. As you can see in my report, they've reported that they've collected 35,780 kilograms of general litter, and 68 incidents of fly tipping have been collected. There is data to show that they are collecting, but that data is purely provided by the county council. Floral maintenance it's been a shame basically this year. There's the towers that are spread across the town. There's been under adequate water into them, and that's why I believe that they haven't delivered as good as other years, like last year. So really, it's without going in, without reading line for line in the report, there's not much more to say on the partnership. Service delivery isn't good, and it's going to have to be addressed, and we'll talk more about that in part 2. It's very sensitive at this stage, and it's really challenging for us at CTC with regards to that. I've got any questions on the partnership?
Wayne?
Yeah, so if I can, I appreciate the fact we'll be discussing this in another part of the meeting, but I just think it's worthwhile reinforcing the point, and I think this comes out of the report, that we're not just sitting back and taking this. We have identified issues. In fact, I know all the elected members have identified issues around some parts of service delivery, and it would be a gross dereliction of duty by us as councillors, or indeed the council, if we just closed our eyes and ignored it, and we haven't. We've actually addressed this, and it will be addressed, because as Councillor Swinburne said on the introduction, we expect nothing but the best for the town. And in some cases this year, some of that has not been delivered. And that's, not blaming individual workers in any of this. This is probably a more fundamental issue. And certainly in terms of the flower towers, which were great when they went in, as the weeks and months went on, started to look not so good. So we've taken on board what the public have said, what we've identified as councillors as well, and what officers have done. So I think the reassurance to people out there in the community is we're not sitting back and taking this. We want the best. We'll get the best, and this is part of the process by which we're going to achieve it, because Cramlington really does deserve to be the premier town in Northumberland.
Here, Wayne, thank you for that. Anybody else? David?
Right. I sat in the actual meeting where this agreement was signed, right? And I mean, say that NCC basically said, take it or leave it, right? And on top of that, it was basically a case of there would be 10 redundancies, this, that, and the other. There would be, so basically, you know, they were blackmailed. We were blackmailed into signing that in that agreement. And quite honestly, I sat in the last board meeting, and quite honestly, they were trying to take the moral high ground by saying that we weren't willing to talk to them and this, that, and the other. I feel it's terrible if you're going to blackmail a council into signing an agreement, and then when we as a council aren't happy with what we're actually receiving, right, to try and take the moral high ground. So I've got quite a few issues along with everybody else here, and I think the sooner this is sorted or they're got rid of, the better.
Thank you, David. Bob, would you like to respond, or should we leave it until part 2?
I think it's best that we leave this discussion till part 2, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Barry. Okay, thank you, David. Anyway, we haven't ignored you. Agenda item 9, extension of the 6-month rule. Bob, I believe you have something to put in for this.
Sorry.
Oh, hang on just a second, Adam.
Sorry, Tom. I believe Daryl hasn't finished his report as of yet. He's just finished the partnership section of the
Daryl,
report.
I'm so sorry. Well, that's not like you to be so quiet.
I know. I've got all these.
I know. I
wonderful
did
things
say
to
I
talk
see
about.
it's bus shelters, playgrounds, etc., and I wasn't sure. I thought you'd finished. I'm so sorry.
I couldn't even sleep last night. I was so excited to do this report, and you've done that. So yeah, on to section 3, bus shelters. At the time of writing this report, all the bus shelter repairs were up to date. However, we've had some ongoing works happening this week in the east of the town. We've been doing some painting and looking at doing some panel repairs. Just to point of note, there is a lot of vandalism at the minute. Our infrastructure has been massively tackled by graffiti artists, but we are working with the local police and other agencies to try and resolve that issue. Again, any public watching this, if you do have any information, please ring the police or the council. That would be much appreciated. Playgrounds, all the playgrounds are operating as normal. We've had no concerns whatsoever in relation to COVID restrictions or guidelines. We are aware of some issues at selected sites such as Horton Park. Again, any issues or any information, please get in touch. Environmental enforcement. Our environmental enforcement officer has issued in the past 8 weeks 26 warning notices. He's uplifted, I was quite surprised at this one, 12 abandoned vehicles in Cramlington and 35 instances of fly tipping are currently being investigated in conjunction with the environmental agency. And sorry, it's the wrong way around, but I'll jump onto parking enforcement. Again, they weren't operational during COVID, and that was all due to NCC's regulation and policies, but they are now operational again. So between the 15th of August and the 1st of September, they have issued 25 parking charge notices. And then I'll jump back up to section 6 in projects. The Councillor Connect programme it's getting on really well. However, there's a couple of schemes. There will be an appendix on the report that you should all have with a table of how it's all getting on. The only 2 issues at the moment is the the Northburn Bridge painting. That belongs to the actual infrastructure belongs to Northumbrian Water. And when I sort of allocated the contractors to get on with it, the contractors highlighted the need to get a permit off the Environment Agency in Northumbrian Water and able to do that work, because those 2 bodies need to check what sort of chemicals and stuff they're using when they're working over the water and what sort of methods they're going to be using. They actually highlighted that that they didn't realise that work needed doing, and it's looking like that they're going to undertake those works. So there will be, that scheme will probably no longer go ahead, and it won't be a cost to the town council. So that would be good. So a bit of money in the bank for John. And the other one is entrance features. Entrance features for the village. There's been a delay in the brickwork, just due to the specification of the brick, because it's an old English coronation brick. It's actually made to order, and due to COVID, none of the brick factories were operating at the time. But yeah, we are looking at a kind of end of November for the village entrance features. but everything else is on target, and we should have everything completed by February 2021. And that is it. Any questions?
Barry.
Sorry, thank you, Mayor. Yes, Daryl, I just wanted to say thank you for all the work that's gone on in Cramlington West, all those green splodges at the top of that spreadsheet. It's been very well received, the new plant in there, and I think it looks very smart. And I think it's something that others in other parts of Cramlington might be looking to when the time and appropriateness comes along.
Thank you. Mark?
Thank you, Mayor. It's just to go back to the graffiti issue. I know it's been mentioned by us, it's mentioned by residents, and you can't get away from it because of the amount of graffiti that is seen through the town and reappears through the town and reappears again. And it's on quite a significant amount of public property, bus stops, BT boxes, you name it, it appears. And no sooner do we clean it and repaint it, then it reappears again. As you mentioned before, the police are involved, but it's to try and make the public aware. This is costing the council and the public a significant amount of money, and it's money that can be better spent on the public and on, be it, on play parks, on other things, rather than just constantly cleaning and painting over this mess. We do need the help of the public. If they know anything, please get in touch, just to advise them that each and every one of these is photographed, and the police are involved, so that when the person is caught, all of these tags, as they call them, will be brought together. Unfortunately, it's now, as I understand, Daryl, it's not just one. There's another one which has sadly appeared and started.
Yeah, we have 2 active tags in Cramlington at the moment, yeah.
Yeah. So there is work ongoing to try and catch the person, but please, if anyone does know anything, just either get in touch with the police or get in touch with us and we'll pass that on. But the cost involved is sadly escalating, and that money really could be spent better in the town than tidying up this mess repeatedly over and over again.
Here, here. And I think also about, fly tipping as well. If anyone sees anybody fly tipping, please take a vehicle registration number and report it again to the police or to us. Thank you, Paul, but Christine was next.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to go back to the bus shelters. I know I've seen some PPE equipment abandoned in some bus shelters. I'm just wondering, Daryl, if any of the operatives have reported similar when they're cleaning the bus shelters out, and if you think there would be a need for extra litter bins to be put near, on the posts near the bus shelters.
Right, okay.
Dispose them more appropriately instead of just scattering them. Now, I have litter picked around my area in Eastfield, and I've found gloves and masks discarded. So it's just something I'd like to raise to see. Maybe we could discuss it in part 2.
It hasn't been specifically flagged to us that there's been PPE discarded around bus shelters. I know our teams would attend, and when they attend on the frequency, they will collect whatever's there. But no, it hasn't been specifically flagged to us. I can speak to our dedicated teams tomorrow, and with regards to bins at bus shelters, I believe the majority of them. Is there any specific locations?
I do have some along the High Pit Road that haven't any litter bins. I don't know about other people. The ones on Northumbrian Road are well catered for.
Right. Okay.
I've noticed the small ones have been put up, the very small ones on the poles rather than the bins. It's just that I did see some equipment down on the stone bus shelter that I've got down East.
Right. Okay.
In where people either took them off when they put up and just throw them in the shelter. But if you could speak to the operatives, that would be really good.
Yeah, no problem. And we'll undertake a review of if we need extra bin provision in those locations, and I'll come back with an update.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right, thank you, Christine. People are waving at me, but Dave, did you have your hand up before?
No.
No, okay. Right, I don't want to miss you out again. So it's Paul and then it's John and Adam.
So following on from what Mark just said, what bothers me is the escalating cost of removing the graffiti. Maybe it's a good idea to put a notice out in our town council website, you know, perhaps giving an indication of the amount of money we are spending on cleaning the graffitis, and then asking for information. If we do so, perhaps, you know, each one of us can, you know, spread it in the social media. So it could be one way of, you know, countering the problem, because people don't seem to realize, I don't think many residents really realize how much we are spending on cleaning the graffiti stuff. So, and then we can also say, if you come across anything, evidence or something, we will treat it anonymously. You know, your anonymity is guaranteed, so we will pass on to the law enforcement, you know, something like that in the website, which we can then disseminate to lots of people using our Facebook or Twitter, whatever it is. So it may be a good idea to think about it.
Okay, I think it's been muted before that we might put signs around the town, say on bus shelters. I believe I've got that right, haven't I, Darryl? Hasn't that been muted before about putting signs up?
I believe so, yeah.
And how much this graffiti actually costs the town council?
Yeah,
it's an idea anyway.
It's something we could probably look into, you know.
Yeah.
I'll
But what I'm saying is that, Darryl, instead of putting on a poster in a physical, maybe in the electronic, like Facebook and these kind of things would be much more effective, I think. Because if the offenders come across such things, hey, these guys are taking it seriously, you know, so they might be afraid of doing such a thing. So that's my suggestion.
Yeah, we can put something together.
Okay.
I'll work with, link in with Jane and the town clerk to see what we could put out there. Not a problem.
Thank you, Darryl. John?
Yeah, it's just in regards to what Christine was saying about, obviously, the problem with the litter, and obviously this is a problem that's going to be massive. I think countrywide, it is the new litter, disposable gloves, face masks, things like that. They're blowing around everywhere. Now, I think, obviously, you know, it is a specific problem. Problem being is, if we do put bins up with them, we've got to be very careful, because this could be almost classed as clinical waste, because the masks and the gloves are there to protect people from COVID. Now, if we're, you know, we know it, you know, on 72 hours it dies after services. But if we're, you know, if we put these bins up, encouraging people to put them in there for the safety, especially of the works team, they're going to have to take extra precautions when they are picking up this, you know, these face masks and gloves, because potentially they could be coming off people that have been tested positive for COVID. So some of that we need to think about, especially for Darryl and Adam, you know, for the workforce team going out there, if they are going to be picking this stuff up, or they are going to be putting these litter bins at the bus stops. You know, it could be almost classed as a bit of a clinical waste, this, you know, it really would. So just something that we're going to be careful of. I mean, it's just, you know, they are everywhere, these masks and gloves now, wherever you go, you know.
Yeah, no problem.
Christine?
Yeah, thank you for that, John. What I'm raising my hand for is Pat Hurd is trying to get through, and the icon is on the screen. So I think Pat wants to ask a question.
Can I just, Pat, hang on a second. Adam, can you, and then I'll speak to Pat, please.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to mention that Pat Hurd would like to.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes, I got the message.
Yeah, sorry, and just before that, just following on from Councillor Pacey and Councillor Dunbar there, we have been provided posters from NELC regarding disposal of PPE. We can get those posters printed out and displayed around the town. That's not a problem.
Lovely. Thank you. Pat?
Hi, thank you. Hi, Darryl. It was just a question about the flower tower that was destroyed. Has any progress been made by getting that replaced by the gentleman's insurance, or will it have to come out of council budgets?
No, it's progressing through. I think his insurance was Admiral. They said we'd have the claim within 60 days. But yeah, it's on the system, so we'll chase it up if we don't get anything.
Okay, thank you.
Is that it for Darryl? Darryl, sorry I cut you short there.
That's all right.
But there's a first for everything. Right, your report is noted. Thank you. Now it's over to Bob for the extension of the 6-month rule, which is agenda item 9.
Sorry, Tom. It's yeah. Sorry. Ignore.
Shall I just go?
Sorry, just ignore me.
Chair, I think we're all aware that having to have Zoom meetings and the ongoing sort of pandemic situation has created difficulties, particularly in terms of the 6-month rule, which is the rule that requires a councillor to attend at least one meeting every 6 months or face the real danger of disqualification through non-attendance. Now, it hasn't actually affected anyone so far, with the exception of Councillor Mitchison, who has real health problems at the moment. But nevertheless, I think I want to recommend to you a blanket coverage to allow the extension of the 6-month rule until the next annual meeting. Now, I have a form of words for you to look at, and I would hope you could approve the form of words if I can just read them out. It says, due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, it is considered prudent for the Council to extend the period in relation to which a member may be absent without penalty under Section 6085 of the Local Government Act 1972 to be extended, and the Council is recommended to agree an extension on this basis until the next annual meeting. This extension shall apply to all town councillors.
Okay.
Can we approve that?
Can we agree? Or Paul?
In principle, I completely agree with this extension, but one clarification and one question. When you say, Bob, the 6 months rule, attending at least one meeting, that meeting includes Zoom meeting, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. For example, if I attend the Zoom meeting, then it's as if I'm attending the meeting.
Oh,
because
yes.
That's right.
Absolutely, yes.
So my only concern is that this blanket exemption, because of course I understand Anne is not well, and she has got very, very valid reason, and probably others as well. But I would still put some restriction for the councillors to approach you to say, look, I am not well. Right?
Oh, yes,
at least a formal apology. Because if we give a blanket exemption, Bob, what I worry is that we won't know what the councillor is doing. So it is important we put some caveat, at least a formal apology. Formal apology for not attending the meeting, something like that should be done, because it is a COVID situation.
Yeah.
The other reason why so 1 minute, Bob, I'll finish it. The other reason I'm worried about this aspect is that this council excluded one councillor on the basis of the 6 months rule. So we need to be a little bit more careful when it comes to handling, extending this giving blanket exemption during COVID, this one. So that's my point.
Okay. The previous disqualification was under very different circumstances. This is the approach taken by the County Council, and we would expect councillors to submit apologies if they're ill or have other reasons for not being able to join in a Zoom meeting. I would also say that from the 1st of October, it's not required to hold a by-election until the next elections in May next year. So whatever line you took, if you were to decide not to accept this approach and to look at possible disqualifications, there wouldn't be a by-election because we wouldn't hold a by-election within 6 months of main elections. And we do have main elections in May next year.
No, I'm not saying I'm not accepting it. No.
Oh, no.
What I'm saying is that there has to be some line of communication between the absent councillor and to the mayor or somebody else or to you, that these are the reasons I am not coming, or something like that. Because Yeah, if the absence is also accompanied by absence of explanation, I have some problem in, with this blanket exemption.
Yeah, okay.
Wayne?
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah. So just to reinforce what Bob Baker's just said there, this is something which is, I think, done across all authorities within England to reflect the fact that some councillors across the country are of an age where they've had to isolate, haven't been able to join meetings either in reality, either collectively or indeed remotely for whatever reason. So, and I think it's really important that the message goes out there that this is not an excuse for any councillor to sit back until May of next year and do nothing, because it's quite the opposite. I'm sure Bob's sick of the sight of me for the past few weeks. And I know that, and I can speak, I think, certainly on behalf of my group in terms of the continuing absolute focus on our communities that we represent and the council itself. So this is purely if an individual member, for whatever reason, cannot attend, that they would, out of courtesy, advise the clerk why they can't attend, and that is noted. But otherwise, business as usual. We do our ward work. We do the stuff that we do for our communities. We aren't packing up and going home till next year. Far from it. We'll continue to do what we've been doing for the past 3.5 years, which is working for the people of Cramlington. But this is a national piece of legislation which is now being reflected for Cramlington.
Thank you for the clarification, Wayne. Adam?
Thanks, Carmen. I just want to confirm that when apologies are received by members, it is outlined at the start of the council meeting, and it is also reflected in the minutes of those meetings. So if a councillor does give their apologies, it is minuted and outlined at the start. I can confirm, obviously, that we have received apologies for meetings in the past, and this is reflected in the minutes.
Thank you, Adam. Barry?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't want to extend this debate any longer than it's already gone on for, but I'd just like to express my best wishes to Councillor Mitchison if she's unwell. And I think that probably extends from all councillors. And if we
it does indeed, yes.
Pass our best wishes to her, that would be very appreciated.
Yes, I mentioned it to Dave yesterday in the meeting we had. Okay, thank you very much. So otherwise we're in agreement with this, yes? Okay. Agenda item 10, LTP submissions for 2021-22. Bob, again, please.
Yes, sure. It's really for group leaders to put forward their priorities for the LTP for next year. I have received a response from Wayne for the Conservative group, and Wayne is proposing increased parking facilities at the station, Cramlington Station, and also remarking the demarcation lines on all cycleways and improvement to the surfacing of the cycleways. I haven't as yet received a response from Anne Mitchison or the Labour group, but I would ask you to get that priority to me as soon as you can. It's just one priority from the whole group.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So is that okay, John, David, will one of you, with Anne, perhaps come up with something, please, for Bob?
The three will sort
Lovely. Thank you,
Yeah,
David.
will do.
Thank you, John. Okay, item agenda,
Chair,
sorry, agenda item.
Yeah, Darryl had his hand up.
Darryl, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, it was just in relation to the LTP for the Labour group. The deadline for NCCs next week, I believe. So
you want to see it first. Okay.
Thank you. When, Monday or Friday?
I'll send John and David and the actual deadline day.
Lovely. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, Darryl.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Al.
Agenda item 11, members' questions. Any questions from anyone? I think we've had quite a few, but are there any more? No? Okay then, can we stop the recording and move on to part 2, please?